my friends. It's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. I'm so glad you guys could join me today. Hey, it's time for another Tuesday tip video. And today's tip is all about creating some amazing paper flowers with dimension. We're going to be using a special punch today. This is the Petal Park Builder punch. And I have got some tips to share with you to give your flowers some really great dimension. I think you're really going to enjoy these. I've got two cards to share with you. One a little more on the whimsical side, one a little more on the elegant side. So whatever type of flower you're looking to make, you're going to love today's cards. Let's get started. We are going to have a good time creating these cards, guys. I am loving these. This is, the card today is going to be featuring the Petal Park Punch. You notice we have 3 flowers, pardon my lights hitting it there, 3 flowers and a leaf all in one punch. We love that. And we're going to create 2 very different cards. So I've got bold, bright, whimsical, and I've also got soft, elegant, very nice card. We've got a couple hidden tricks underneath because it wouldn't be a Tuesday tip without some tips. So I've got some tricks of how we're going to manipulate this cardstock to create these fabulous cards. Tell you what, my friends, we're going to start with this one here because I am just kind of a bold and bright girl. We're going to create this fun happy birthday card. Actually, both cards today are birthday cards, but I'm going to use one stamp set. Go to Greetings. Do you guys have this one? It is a favorite of mine, and here's what's going to be great with these cards. With this stamp set. So I created this happy birthday, but it could be a thinking of you, a just a note, a thank you. Same with this one here. You've got several different sizes of the same greeting. So you have tons of opportunities with the cards. We are going to start with this one here. And I do have a free download for you that goes along with my video today. So if you need the supply list or you need to come back and rewatch the video, you can click here or use the QR code. You can click right there to get my supply list and order what you need. Look at this. Here's all your measurements. Guys, everything's ready for you, even photos and your complete measurement list. So that is available for you at SimplySimpleStamping.com, or you can look down in the YouTube description. I've got it there for you as well. All right, here's what we need for our card. And I'm going to be using Daffodil Delight as my card base. Now, I got to tell you, I just realized my original was done 4 1/4 by 11. And look at this, I've got 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. It's all good. So we just need a standard A2 card base. I've got a layer here, and this is also in Daffodil Delight, 4 by 5 1/4. We've got some basic white that's going to go along with this. We're going to need 2 of these. 3 3/4 by 5. And now let's talk about our 3 flowers. I'm going to use exact same size pieces here. These are 2 by 3, but they can just be scraps. So whatever you want to do. Gorgeous grape, berry burst, and pumpkin pie. Very bright, festive colors. I've also got some lemon lime twist, another new color from Stampin' Up. And my friends, this piece is cut 1.5 by 4 1/4. We're going to use that to create our stems and leaves, all right? And as you can see, we're really just focusing on that punch. The punch is gonna do all the work for us. All right, here we go. We're gonna kick things off with some die cutting, and I'm gonna be using the Scalloped Contours dies. Friends, if you don't have this one, just pick maybe one of your other rectangle shaped dies, whatever works for you. You could even just cut them down. I'm going to be using this, the second to the largest, and the 4th, or the second from the smallest, whatever you want to, we're just gonna skip. All right, that's what we're doing. So we're gonna need these 2 right here. Let me move these off to the side. I'm actually going to kind of begin with my die cutting. So from the 4 by 5 1/4 Daffodil Delight, I am going to take the smaller die. I want to die cut that from the center of my cardstock. And that is going to give us this. We're going to use this in the center of our card. All right, next we're going to take one of the pieces of basic white. Let's cut that larger frame. Remember, this was the second to the largest. Let's die cut that. This is scrap. We can get rid of that. Now, we still have one more piece of our basic white. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring in one more die. So this would be the smallest of all of those dies.
And I want you to stamp that or die cut that right there. We're going to stamp inside, but we're going to cover up this with this piece that we die cut. So I love to conserve cardstock. It's one of my favorite tips I share with you. So let's just give this a cut. You can see I kind of have it lined up at the two sides and the top. And that is what we need to die cut. All right. Now that we have our machine out, let's go ahead and do some embossing as well. So I'm going to take, this would be the Daffodil Delight we started with, and then the piece that we took out there in the middle. We're going to run this through an embossing folder. Your favorite embossing folder, that's going to be the right one for you. I'm going to use the Basics 3D embossing folders. It comes as a 3-pack, but I loved this particular, just kind of had a nice little star design. I thought it went well with my flowers. I'm going to run this through my embossing machine along with this piece. I'll run it through second because I need both of these through the embossing folder. All right, there's that one. Now I can run this one. In fact, some of you might be saying, Connie, why didn't you just run it all through first and then die cut? Well, it can actually kind of damage some of your embossed image. So I like to do this in 2 separate pieces rather than emboss all of it and then die cut. Yep, you're just going to have to trust me on that one. Okay, you know what? Since I'm at this point, I'm going to go ahead and adhere my embossed cardstock to the front. I love the look of layers in those great identical colors. I just think it looks so nice. I am going to use my multi-purpose glue here, mainly because this is an embossed image, all right? And I don't want to run the risk of flattening any of it. It's too pretty to flatten. So we're just going to add that to the front of our card. We're now going to take that piece of basic white and we're going to add that to the inside of our card. And remember this one? Yeah, we don't see that anymore, do we? Yeah, we're going to cover that up. So again, adding my multi-purpose glue. I don't know, maybe I'm going at this backwards, but you know, is there really a right or wrong way? Do you do the front? Do you do the inside? What do you do first? Does not matter. But you know what? I wanted to go ahead and get all that put together because I'm now ready to go ahead and create my flowers, and I got more tips for you. All right, so I had you cut 3 pieces of cardstock, and these were 2 by 3. So I'm going to take my punch, I'm going to flip it upside down. I find it easier to work with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cardstock in here, and I'm going to line it up right here on the edge. You see I still have some hanging out here. That's what I want. Let's give this a punch. And I have my 3 flowers. You notice I didn't get the leaf because I don't want a pumpkin pie leaf. But what I do want to do with this last little area right here, I need this smaller flower that's up here at the top. I need an extra one of those. That's going to go on the inside of my card. So that is what we're going to have when we're all done. So we used our cardstock wisely. Let's repeat that with our berry burst and our gorgeous grape. Now we're ready to punch some leaves, but I'm actually going to have you do a little bit of cutting on this piece of lemon lime twist before we do. I've always got sneaky reasons for what I do. I want to put this in my paper trimmer, and friends, I want to cut off 3 pieces that are 1/8, all right, 1/8 by 4 1/4. So there's one. See, it's just a little sliver. And if it's not perfect, please, no stress on this. We just want to get 3 little strips, and 1/8 is just perfect for this. All right, now we have some left over, of course, and that's what we're going to do to get our leaves. So this is going to just slide right in here, and it's actually going to hit the bottom of my punch. And I'm just going to punch as many of these as I can. I probably need, 5 or 6. It's whatever you get, okay? No stress, but we're going to take all of those. Yes, you're going to get a little trash in there as well. So let me pull out all my good leaves, stems, leaves, flowers. We're good to go. All right, I'm actually going to go ahead and set my leaves and my stems off to the side here for just a minute because I'm going to show you what's going to give these flowers that wow factor. I'm going to bring in my Stampin Pierce Mat. Guys, this thing is an awesome, awesome little tool. It's a $5 purchase and it'll last you forever. It's just wonderful. You can use it when you're using your photopolymer stamps. It gives you that little extra cush. It can be used for paper piercing, but let me show you what we're going to do with it today. We're going to use that cushion so that we can get that dimension on these flowers so many different ways. First thing I'm going to show you is with your take your pick tool. See the cap on your on the kind of that gummy side? If you'll just put it right there in the middle and give it a push, look at that. Look, and it kind of instantly adds these little instant lines to the punch. Fabulous. So you can use that. Your stylus tool from your Simply Scored board is also a great tool for this. Just give those flowers a push right there. Looks like that one needs a little bit more. That works well. Guys, a pen, just a good old pen. I don't have the pen out, so I'm going to use this flat, but that also gives you a really great method for giving your flowers a little push. So look around, see what you have, but can you already see how amazing these flowers look? They just took on a whole new look from that, right? So we went from this to this. Really incredible. All right, now we're going to put these together. I'm going to take one of each of the small one. I'm going to set those aside because I'm actually going to use those on the inside of my card. We're going to adhere these together. I am going to remove them from my Stampin' Pierce Mat because I definitely do not want to get any glue on this. Again, coming in with the multi-purpose glue, I'm going to add a dot of glue on the inside. I'm going to add a flower. And remember, what tool did you just use? Well, if you use the pen, you can use the pen to give that a push into the glue. I'll repeat that with one more glob of glue and one more flower. So yeah, go ahead and make sure you're leaving your pokey tool out, whichever one you might be using. So there's one flower. If you used your take your pick tool, we use that to press on our gorgeous grape flower. And of course, there was our stylus tool from our Simply Scored board. And now we're going to go and we're going to create our great focal image for the front of our card. I'm going to adhere these down, and let me kind of show you. I want them to kind of, you notice they're kind of coming off the card. We're going to trim that away, but I want these to kind of come off my card like so. I'm going to come in, again, I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue. I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. And you know what? I was just about to add my third one. I'm gonna stop. I think I want to go ahead and stamp. I want to make sure I have my sentiment on before I go and adhere this down. So bear with me as I'm taking a little step back. I'm going to come in with my Memento Black. And this is the small happy birthday from Go To Greetings. Yeah, I'm glad I waited on that. I probably should have started with that, but there's my happy birthday for the front of my card. So now I can bring in this last one, and I just want to make sure I'm avoiding my sentiment. So another little tip, always stamp before you adhere. You know, I've been doing this how long? You'd think I'd know. But we'll add our last stem right there. Okay, remember those leaves that we had? Well, now we just want to decide where we want them to go. There's no right or wrong. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to go ahead and start adhering things down. And as I said, there's really no right or wrong to this. We're just filling in, all right? Just making things look nice and full. I'm going to get my last leaf on there. Now, with what's hanging off, let's go ahead and trim that away. And I'm just going to follow the die. All right, that little curve in the die. We're going to add this now to the front of our card. Again, I'm going to do that with my multi-purpose glue. We'll add our focal image here to the front. Remember that little die that we die cut from our backing there? I'm going to put a happy birthday on this as well. Stamp that right there in the center. I can now add this to the inside of my card. See, doesn't that being embossed, it just kind of adds a little extra to it. I think that looks so nice. Remember these 3 extra flowers that we had? Guess what? We're going to add these to the inside because they're just so cute. So again, whatever way you want to adhere them, whatever tool you found that worked best, we're going to add these right in here. They are going to be flat because it's on the inside of the card, but that's okay because once we have those down and they're dry, I'm going to come in with my Stampin' Right black marker and with the bullet end, just give them a little center. They were just a little on the plain side. So that gives them a little more pop. Of course, it brings in the black ink that I used on the sentiment. Now, it's time to make the front of this card look amazing. I'm going to bring in the brand new 2023-2025 in color dots. Love these. I was using my Take Your Pick tool a second ago, so we're going to go ahead and use it again. And I'm going to put one of these bright yellow dots right there. Let's take this kind of pinkish purple. It's actually mauve, but it's so nice and bright. We'll put that right here on our pumpkin pie. And now for the berry burst, we're actually going to use a little boho blue. And the last thing is a little black and white gingham bow because it is so cute. I'm going to go ahead and use a mini glue dot to add this. I just find they just work better. I have been known to use my multi-purpose glue, but boy, I sure do like my mini glue dots for little ribbons. Do you notice all the different ways that we conserved our cardstock? So we cut from behind here, we cut from behind here, we used all of our colored scraps, just a really great card. I have one more to share with you. And before I do, remember, I've got the measurements for both these cards on my free download, and that's available at simplysimplestamping.com, or you can look in the YouTube description for that free download. I want you to have that. And look at this gorgeous card. So if you're looking for maybe something a little more in the subtles, maybe something a little more elegant, how about this? Soft seafoam, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Guys, these measurements are the same. So this one is a 4 by 5 1/4. I had my 2 pieces of basic white, 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. Now here I'm bringing in some different colors for my flowers. Again, they are 2 by 3 scraps, but I have Bubble Bath, Fresh Freesia, and Highland Heather. And then for my leaves, this one's a little bit different too, because you notice on this card, there are no stems. So this is just a 1 by 4 1/4, and that's going to give me these leaves. We're going to start with the 4 by 5 1/4. Remember how we did this before and we die cut this little bit larger image? We're going to do that again from the center of our soft seafoam. All right, I'm going to set this off to the side. We're actually going to stamp directly on this one. So I'll set that there. We're going to take this piece and we're going to run it through an embossing folder. But for this one, because it was a more elegant card, I decided to use pretty flowers. So I'm going to line that up here in my embossing folder. I'm going to adhere that to the front of my card just as I did before. We're going to do something a little bit different. Now remember, this card is actually going landscape and not portrait. I'm going to take one of my basic white. I'm going to add that to the inside of my card. That's right, no additional die cutting on this one. And we're going to add that right here. And the piece that we just die cut, let's do some stamping on this. I'm going to use crumb cake on this one. Again, I was looking for a very nice soft feel. There are 2 happy birthdays I'm going to use on this card. The largest one, that one's going to go on the front. All right, I'll use that one in a minute. There's another kind of a medium-sized happy birthday. We're going to stamp that right there in the middle. And for right now, I'm going to go ahead and adhere that inside the card. All right, with this remaining piece of our basic white, we are going to die cut the second to the largest frame. I'm going to bring in my crumb cake, the large happy birthday. Friends, that will go right down here at the bottom. It's now time to press all of our flowers. You've seen me do it. We're going to do it again. I've adhered those flowers together. I put the remaining 3 inside my card. We've got a little more punching to do. We got to get a few leaves here. I am going to, just like we did before, so we're just going to bring in the little 1 inch by 4 1/4. Let's get as many of these leaves as we can. And we are simply going to add these to the back of our flowers, okay? So there's no right or wrong with this one either. Let's just add some leaves. All right, time to finish this card up. We're gonna add that happy birthday stamped scallop. I just think the scallop, it's funny how it adds elegance, but on the other card it adds whimsy. We'll add that here. Now we can add our flowers. You can kind of decide which ones you want to go where. Let's add some flowers. Now on my last card, again, because it was a whimsy card, I used the glossy dots. But here we're going to use these flat adhesive backed pearls. And I got to tell you something. When I use these on the flower, I want you to see. It's just a little kind of iridescent pearl. I'm going to put it here in the center of the fresh freesia, and look what happens. It looks like fresh freesia. I'm going to add it to my Highland Heather, and look at that. It pulls in that color. Last one, you guessed it. It's going to look like bubble bath. I'm telling you, it's just like those little flat adhesive back pearls. Oh, they just add so much to the card. Now remember on our previous card, we used the black Stampin' Right marker. This time I'm going to use the crumb cake, although you could use whatever you want. We just want to add a little center to the flower so they're not totally flat. We went from this simple punch, oh my goodness, and we created 2 very elegant cards. So remember that go-to greeting stamp set, oh my goodness, it's a perfect one because you've got some of your most popular sentiments, 3 different sizes. You're gonna love creating with this one. And then of course, that Petal Park punch, look what we can do.
If you liked today's video, would you give me a thumbs up on YouTube? I always appreciate that. And hey, if you haven't subscribed, why not click the subscribe button so YouTube can let you know whenever I'm back with a new video. I share twice a week here on the channel. We'd love to have you join us. While you're at it, share with some crafty friends. The more the merrier, that's what I always say. Thank you again for being here, everybody. Can't wait to stamp with you next time. Bye-bye.